For centuries, the Tao Te Ching, one of the most influential philosophical texts in history, has been manipulated, altered, and obscured by the hands of political power. What if I told you that the version of the Tao Te Ching you've read is not the original? In fact, much of its wisdom has been distorted over time, with teachings tailored to serve the needs of ruling powers, not the true essence of the text. The versions that have shaped popular understanding, especially in the context of Chinese dynasties, are not untainted words of Lao Tzu. Many have been altered to fit the narrative of rulers, and they've lost their original depth and spiritual purity. But there is hope. The Boshu edition of the Tao Te Ching, discovered in Changsha in the Han Dynasty, offers a much closer glimpse into the unmodified, untainted version of Lao Tzu's masterpiece. These ancient texts, unearthed from the sands of time, hold wisdom and teachings that have been silenced by centuries of political and cultural oppression. In today's video, we will delve into the Boshu Tao Te Ching, the version closest to its original form, and uncover the forgotten wisdom that might just change the way you see the world. It's very interesting in the Boshu version Tao Te Ching, a virtual part is in front of the Tao part, because I think the logic is because you first need to cultivate virtue, then you can reach that level to obtain Tao. And today I will share the explanation of chapter 1 to chapter 10. Chapter 1 on virtue. The highest virtue is not about being virtuous, and thus it has true virtue. The lower virtue does not lose sight of virtue, and thus it lacks true virtue. The highest virtue takes no action, but nothing remains undone. The highest benevolence takes action, but nothing remains undone. The highest righteousness takes action, but something remains undone. The highest propriety takes action, but there are none to respond. Then they roll up their sleeves and resort to force. Therefore, when the Tao is lost, only then does virtue appear. When virtue is lost, only then does benevolence appear. When benevolence is lost, only then does righteousness appear. When righteousness is lost, only then do rituals appear. Rituals are the sinning of loyalty and faithfulness, and the beginning of disorder. For knowledge is the flower of the Tao, and the beginning of folly. Therefore, the great man dwells in what is solid and does not dwell in what is thin. He dwells in the fruit and does not dwell in the flower. Therefore, he rejects that and accepts this. Chapter 2, Attaining Unity. In ancient times, those who attained unity were as follows. Heaven attained unity and became clear. Earth attained unity and became tranquil. Spirits attained unity and became divine. Valleys attained unity and became full. Kings and princes attained unity and became rulers of the world. If heaven had not been clear, it might have split apart. If the earth had not been tranquil, it might have erupted. If spirits had not been divine, they might have ceased to be. If valleys had not been full, they might have dried up. If kings and princes had not been honored and exalted, they would have stumbled and fallen. Therefore, honor must be based on humility. Greatness must be built upon a foundation of lowliness. This is why kings and princes call themselves orphans, widows, unworthy ones. Is this not taking humility as their basis? Indeed. Hence, the greatest abundance seems insufficient. Hence, one does not wish to be like precious jade, which is brilliant yet brittle, nor like common stone, which is coarse and dull. Chapter 3, Hearing the Tao. When the superior man hears of the Tao, he diligently practices it. When the mediocre man hears of the Tao, he wavers between belief and disbelief. When the inferior man hears of the Tao, he laughs aloud at it. If he didn't laugh, it would not be the Tao. Therefore, these old sayings were uttered. The bright Tao appears dim. The forward Tao appears backward. The level Tao appears rough. The highest virtue appears empty. The greatest purity appears solid. The broadest virtue appears inadequate. The foremost virtue appears weak. The purest substance appears faded. The largest square has no corners. The greatest vessel is slow to complete. The greatest note is hard to hear. The greatest form has no shape. Only the Tao excels in giving and completing all things. Chapter 4, Reversal. Reversion is the movement of the Tao. Weakness is the function of the Tao. Actually, I think here I want to add some commentary because the original Chinese can not only translate it as reversion, but can also translate it as a circle, like, the 4 seasons and day and night. This circle is a movement of Tao. Can be also translated in this way. All things under heaven are born of being. Being is born of not being. Chapter 5, Harmony. The Tao gives birth to one, one gives birth to two, two gives birth to three, three gives birth to all things. Actually, I think this translation is also a little problematic. Yes, because this 1, 2, 3 can take hours to explain, but I just leave it here. Maybe next video I will have some explanation. All things carry in on their backs and embrace young in their bosoms. They blend the breath of harmony within them. What all under heaven detests most is to be offended, vetoed, and unworthy. Yet kings and princes use these terms to describe themselves. Do not something through gain become diminished, and others through diminution become gained? Therefore, what men teach me, I also teach them. The violent die a violent death. This will be my teacher. Chapter 6, Supreme Softness. The softest thing in the world gallops through the hardest thing in the world. Non-existence enters where there is no space. Thus do I know the benefit of non-action, teaching without words. The benefit of non-action, few in word can attain this. Chapter 7, Establishing Caution. Fame or your own life, which do you love more? Your own life or wealth, which is worth more? Gain or loss, which is more harmful? He who loves much will spend much. He who hoards much will lose heavily. Therefore, contentment brings no disgrace. Knowing when to stop brings no danger. Thus one can endure for long. Chapter 8, Request for Quietude. Great perfection seems incomplete, yet its use is never exhausted. Great fullness seems empty, yet its use cannot be exhausted. Great straightness seems crooked. Great skill seems clumsy. Great eloquence seems awkward. Movement overcomes cold. Stillness overcomes heat. Purity and quiet enable one to govern the world correctly. Chapter 9, Knowing Contentment. When the world is in accord with the Tao, horses run free to fertilize the fields. When the world goes astray from the Tao, warhouses breed in the suburbs. There is no greater sin than desire. That is no greater misfortune than discontent. There is no greater fault than greed. Therefore, he who knows contentment always has enough. Chapter 10. Knowing the world. Without going out of doors, one may know the whole world. Without looking out of windows, one may see the way of heaven. The further one travels, the less one knows. Thus, the sage knows without traveling, names without seeing, accomplishes without doing.